just again to make sure that you've done your job correctly. You try to move the board. The board is super secure. It's not moving anywhere. Again, you want to make sure that over here everything is accessible. You can check your USB with any USB device, you know, make sure that you can actually pop in things into the USB port. There are several things that we can do at this point, but my favorite personally is popping in the processor. The reason being is that I like to get the things that are very shallow, I like to get them in first. Once you start building on the motherboard, it'll be more difficult to get your hand to put in the shallow things. So the processor is one of the most delicate thing, both to mechanical shock and electrostatic, very, very delicate. So make sure again before you grab the processor to discharge yourself by touching metal, and in any case try to handle the processor in a way where you don't touch underneath. Normally the processor comes with this little plastic cover to avoid the pins being bent or anything being dirty. You pop the cover off. It's just a plastic cover. There's the bottom of the processor. That's the part you don't want to put a finger in for sure, okay? Because you don't want to leave the grease that's on your fingertips. As you can see, there is two little grooves right here. There is one groove here and one groove over here. Can you see that? Okay, good. So now, in order for us to pop in the processor, we're going to look for those grooves. Very, very important. The processor, you cannot force it. This is called zero force insertion sockets, which means you do not press this processor. You don't force it at all. You just set it where it's supposed to go. If you're putting it correctly in, you will have no problem. Okay, so here we go. All right, you're gonna find this locked like this. In a lot of cases, that will also come with another cover, which is this cover. This is how it's going to be shipped, with this cover, to avoid that getting dirty and whatever. You're just going to pull this cover. It's a plastic cover. Dispose of it. Then press on this thing right here. There is a little hook, as you can see. I'm going to unhook it like that. See, I unhooked it and I just opened this. That will allow me to open the latch, basically. So see, I'm opening up the latch, which otherwise would be locked like that. The latch is locked, but I unhook this, get it out of the way, and lift the latch. Okay, now I don't know if the camera can see this, but there are two little protruding little notches here, per se, here. I don't know if you can see that. One here and one here. And guess what? They need to match these two little grooves. So there is no other way to put the processor in. You cannot get confused. That's how we're going to put it. And if we're putting it right, you will see that the processor goes in there just by itself. You just let it go. Just drop it in there, just like that. Look, I'm dropping it in there. That's it. The processor is in place. You can see that it's secure. There's no way, it can't go anyplace. Try not to put your finger on the top of this plate, again, because you don't want the grease of your finger to be on top of that plate, where later on we'll put our the thermal compound. Now we're going to close the latch. Okay, you can see how everything is smooth, everything is totally aligned, and everything looks really good. So I'm gonna now put this down, and I realize that getting to this point, I can feel that there is a little spring action there. And that is correct. You're gonna feel some spring at about this angle, starting at this angle, you're gonna feel a little spring action. And don't be scared about that. You're gonna still press this thing down all the way, and the spring is gonna get stronger, and then you're gonna latch it in place. Okay, so we got that in place, very, very good. Now, as we said, we're gonna move with the things that are the shallowest first. So I wouldn't put this guy, because if I put this guy, it's gonna make it a little more difficult to get into the board and work around. So my very next thing is going to be the ram. Okay, ram, very easily. Okay, it's very easy. Now, first of all, I try to cut things, do things in a way that they're always returnable, just in case. You never know, something may, see, for example, this is already opened, but if I need to return this, it still looks sort of presentable. In other words, no. And here is where you can see what I cut off from this package. I just cut it off around it like that, and so I can get to the ram, but the package is sort of intact just in case. So I'm going to pull out the ram. Same thing with the ram. Touch the metal first. The ram is very susceptible to electrostatic electricity as well. So, and if you have something like the bag where the motherboard came in, this bag that you've probably seen many times before, this kind of material is electrostatic, is an electrostatic shielding bag. So it's fine to lay susceptible components, lay them right on this bag. Okay, so let's pop the RAM out. I personally chose to build this computer with 4 gigs of RAM. Each stick is a 1 gig stick. I've already opened it to make this shorter, to make it easier. Again, very important, as I said before, the RAM, you need to make sure ahead of time that the RAM matches the motherboard. Not only it matches the type of RAM matches, it's got to match. It's got to be matching RAM, meaning the same type of RAM. You're not going to put 2 gigs of one brand and 2 gigs of another brand. Make sure you put all the same brand, the same type. Okay. In this particular case, you see that this is a DDR2. This is one type of RAM, DDR2, and it's a 6400. Okay. So you want to make sure that that board is compatible with DDR2. If it is compatible with DDR2, then you will have this groove right here is going to match this little ridge right here. You see this one right here. Now, although this may seem to be in the middle, it is really not. From here to here, there is a shorter distance than from here to here. Same thing over here. You can see, just by looking at it, that this part over here is actually a little longer than this part over here, right? This part from here to here is longer than from here to here. So that's how I'm going to drop in the RAM. This is my longer part, this is my shorter part. I open up the little latches. Okay, this just very, very easily, thumb, pressure, and then you drop the RAM, like this edge, you drop it in here, and in here.